Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to Farm Simulator 2017. Welcome back to Upton Farm. So, as you can see, we've got the filthy CR 9.90 at the fuel station, at the pump station on the farm. We just went ahead and filled up, which cost a fortune, but it's making us money. We already did on the east side of the map. We already harvested fields 31, 32, and 34. We're waiting on fields 24, 27, and 28. On the west side of the map, over by the farm proper, which is right here, we started with field 9, then we did field 3 last time. We're going to do field 40 today. We've got the JCB and the tipper parked on the highway across from field 40. And we did have to fuel up, which we have done. Now, in order to minimize crop damage, I think I'm going to actually leave the farm by the north gate. So when we pull into the field, we don't have to turn 180 degrees. You see what I mean? It's hard to see right now, but you'll see when we get there. Right. So we're not going to leave the field. We're not going to leave the farm through the main entrance, which, oddly enough, we rarely use anyway. We always use the north entrance and exit, which is this one out here. Right. So I noticed a pattern. I noticed something that I do. I feel like when I start recording, I feel like I am as likely to talk to you about things that are going on in other sims as I am to talk to you about things that are going on in the sim that we're actually playing. And I started thinking it's kind of immersive, yo. Because that's what people do when they're working. They don't talk about what they're doing. They talk about other stuff. Scenery. They talk about other stuff. They talk about everything but what they're doing. So, you know my struggle. Struggle is real trying to get Formula 1 into Assetto Corsa. I finally gave up. I got F1 2017, and holy Jesus, it has got to be the hardest simulation game I've ever been near. I thought Assetto Corsa was hard. It's nothing compared to F1 2017. It's crazy how hard this game is. It's gorgeous, total eye candy, super detailed. The cutscenes, I have to say, are a little long for me. There's a lot of cutscenes. Not necessarily a fan, but it's a gorgeous game. The simulation is amazing, and now I'm sort of on the fence about something. Right? This is why we came up this way, by the way. Because what we're going to do is try to pull in now. Where's the gate? What's his name again? We're going to try to pull in so that we are next to the field. The gate is open. All right. That was either very clever of me or very forgetful of me. We need our header to be lined up against, how do we want to say it? We want the right side of the header to be against the right side of the field. If that makes sense. We want to be over here. Because if not, the joint, right, the connector will be on the wrong side. You'll see what I'm saying in a second. Right. Let's go third person. Turn the beacons off. You see what I'm saying? Had we come from the main farm entrance, which is down there, when we got into the field, we would have either needed to make a 180-degree turn, right? We would have come in from the left side of the screen in front of the JCB, and made a 180-degree turn to be where we are now. Or we would have been on the wrong side. The header would have been facing the wrong way. What's his name again? Am I making any sense? I think I am. I also have to, because we're going to be driving further to the sell point than we have previously, I also need to spend some time getting this field sort of prepped, I guess. I don't know how else to say it. I'm going to try my little trick here. Alright, this isn't too realistic, but it works. Right. So there is a career management aspect to F1 2017 that I feel I will come to love, but at the moment I'm not crazy about it because I'm used to my driving sims being, well, just driving, and this has some other things going on as far as like building points, gaining points, and you know how you can work on the car. So getting the cruise control speed set. How you can work on the car, when you can work on the car. I mean, it's got a lot of really realistic details. Like, you know, I knew I was going to do that. And I was debating closing the gate, and then I figured, you know, whatever, I'll just skin it. I will not, apparently, just skin it. Right. I'm a mess today. I do apologize. Right. So, you see what I'm getting at, right? There are a lot of things going on that are realistic as far as things like how many sets of tires you get for the weekend, how many engines you get for the season, stuff that is legit, super detailed, super realistic, actual Formula One stuff. And then there are things like, now it's optional. You don't have to do it, but I just started my career, so I need the points. I just got this game, by the way. I'm a big race sim fan. This game came out last year. I just got it, and I didn't even want to get it. You know the whole story. You've heard me. You've heard me tell the story. You've heard it all, man. My woe, tale of woe. I just want to do a Formula One race in Assetto Corsa, and look what's happened now. Anyway, it is optional, but I just started my career, so I need the points. And it's things like you can make these little Sonic the Hedgehog hoops appear on the track, and by running through them, you get like various point bonuses. It's good, I guess, because it gives you an opportunity to level up. And I mean, how else would you do that? And that's my thing. Like, if I don't like the way something is, my policy is, well, if you're going to talk crap on somebody, you have to be able to come up with a better idea. So, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a better way to do that. It actually works. It makes sense. I mean, what else would you do to get XP in a driving game except drive? And you could say, you know, progressive goals like lower and lower lap times. You know, you get 100 points every time you beat your lap time. You get 1,000 points every time you beat it by a second or more, whatever. But there's a problem with that. And the problem with that is it's not really telling you how to do it. And those little marks that appear show you the ideal line. But it's because I always have the racing line and the brake line turned off, all cheats are off, all assists are off, damage is on. It's how I like to sim. This, without having the racing line on, this shows you where you want to be when you're doing laps. So it does make a lot of sense. But to me, it's a little cartoony. I think if it was me, I might have a mode where, you know, there's like a research tree, a tech tree. And again, you know, I think of that more in a God game or a city building game or a character game. And I don't really think of driving simulations as character games, even though I guess, you know, technically, yeah, you're a character. So I like it. I don't have any problems with it. I'm gonna play it in career mode. It's gonna be so slow, so slow. Uh, but I am loving it. Uh, Other than how do I want to say this? There's nothing wrong with the way they have it set up. It's just going to take me a little getting used to, because I'm not used to that kind of character development in a racing game. You know, racing games have always just been, you know, you pass your license, and that opens up a new category of cars, and by driving them you get faster, and then, you know, when you get X number of wins or X number of XP or whatever, then you can try to graduate to the next class or whatever. So it's different. You know, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just different. So we'll see. Now I need to clean up this field, and there's a reason I need to clean it up. We have tram lines. I need to put this field on a worker because we need to go run back and forth with the tipper. So we're going to do several things. First thing we're going to do is open the gate. And the second thing we're going to do is try to neaten up these rows. And we're going to try to do that in cab. So, gate first. And I think you can see that bar at the top of the screen right there, that glitch. I think I know exactly the texture that's causing it. I'm just not sure how to get rid of it. Right. So I think what I'm going to do is go down a tram line, because I know those are straight and even. I'm going to go down a tram line and use that to sort of trim away my scruffy ends. I just got to find one. Is that one? Is that a scruffy end? It's going to have to be. Yep. Okay, this will do. So you see when I get down here, the tram lines are even, but there are some parts of the field that are not. This didn't work out at all the way I intended it to. Right. Okay. Plan B. I know I gotta be careful I don't hit the gate that I just opened. Make it? Make it? Are we running over crop? No? Fantastic. So we'll come at it from the other end. This is probably not the most efficient way to do this, but you know what? It's only a game. Nobody cares. I think you'll see what I'm trying to do in a second here. Maybe you won't. So. Right? That's what I wanted. Okay, so we're going to go down this row, and then we'll have sort of a squared off sort of center of the field kind of isolated, and we can manually clean up this scruffy bit that is in front of us and to our left, because it's kind of odd shaped, right? It's like a trapezoid, or ovoid. You know what I'm saying? It's not square. And if we set the hired worker on it, things won't be good. So we'll get this taken care of first, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side of the field. Then we'll tip, for the first time, and then we can go in and put the combine on a worker and we can cart back and forth. I think that makes sense. I think it makes the most sense. And there's also I'm using the AI virtual control. I can't remember. It's not Courseplay. It's another thing. But it does have an option in there for continuous fields, which I think causes the AI to go past things like tram lines. Right? Like if it says continuous fields only, when it comes to a tram line, it sees the end of the crop as the end of a field. And it stops it's not stops, like it turns itself off, but it calls that the end of a row. Get a little closer. There we go. Calls that the end of a row, and essentially makes a lot of small fields, or tries to make a lot of small fields, if that makes sense. It doesn't see the entire field with tram lines as one field. It sees every block of crop that's separated from the next one by tram lines as an individual field, or an individual area to be worked on, in this case, to be harvested. So we'll try to get the right setup in there, the right command, so that it rolls right past those tram lines. Ideally. And this is working out. So we'll finish up this side, we'll go over and do the same thing on the other side, and then ideally that should make us just about full. We'll tip one time, and then I guess we can, at that point, we can fill up a second time. No, we won't, because the combine is 14 tons, the tipper is 25. So if we fill up twice, we can dump everything one time, but then the second time we can only dump half, which means we can only go half as far before we need to tip again, right? Before we need to unload, and the tipper may not be back from the sell point by then. I want to, every time the JCB leaves to go sell, I want the combine to be 100% empty, so it can run for longer before it has to refill. If I seem a little bit out of it tonight, it's probably because I'm a little bit out of it. Insomnia, man. You do not want insomnia. Right. So F1 2017 is great. I love it. I have noticed, however, that it is by far the most intense race sim that I've ever played. To the point where it's, how do I want to say this? Like, this is very relaxing to me. Even when Farm Simulator 2017 is stressful, even when Euro Truck Simulator is stressful, it is, by comparison, not even a little bit stressful. Like, there's never been a time when I've been playing Euro Truck Simulator where my heart has been racing. Right? But when you're trying to qualify for anything, it doesn't have to be Formula One. There's all kinds of racing in Project Cars 2 and Assetto Corsa. When you're trying to qualify for something, and you can always see the delta, you know, there's the little delta meter. How close are you? How close are you? How many seconds ahead are you? And, like, let's say you qualify, 10th or something, and you're half a second ahead. You know, you're like, where's that half second of positive delta going to put me? Is it going to put me on pole? Is it going to put me, is it, I'm 10th, am I going to be 8th? Am I going to be 5th? And there's always that moment like, oh, should I just finish my lap the way I have been, so we finish a half second better, or should I keep pushing the rest of the lap, try to improve, and maybe take a whole second off, and that would definitely put us on the pole, whatever. And I mean, to me, that really will get my heart racing. That is super exciting to me in any racing sim. Well, I don't know how or why, or however they executed it, or whatever, but God, it's really I don't know how else to describe it. It's just super powerful in F1 2017. The way that the game is executed and how it gets so intense. And I don't like I did a race vid earlier today, a set of Corsa. It's rendering now. It's pretty laid back. I'm hanging out. I'm talking. Something that I've noticed about people that YouTube F1 2017 is they tend to, I guess, do the race or do the qualifying or do whatever, and then they capture it with OBS or Elgato or whatever it is they use. They capture it, and then they talk over that like an announcer, like they're calling their own race. And I totally get that now, because it's so hard. I mean, for me, it can be hard to talk over any game. And that's something that I've been practicing these past 100 episodes, because it really is hard to do. And I take long pauses, and it's one of those things like, no, man, you're doing a thing, man. People are listening. You can't just stop talking. So it is challenging to do that during a racing game. I have found is more challenging, almost to the point of being impossible. And particularly for sim games, if it's a sandbox game or something, like there's some racing games that are, by comparison, not putting anything down, but there are some racing games that are, by comparison, pretty sandboxy. And I know I've seen YouTubers that, they're cutting up and laughing and yelling and really having a good time. And good for them, man. But it's that kind of a sim where you can, something like, what's the, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But even something like Forza Horizon, is pretty silly. There's, you're racing around little towns on the Riviera. It's not, I wouldn't call that simulation. It's fun. It's definitely fun. Graphics are good. Physics are all right in Forza. They're okay, but it's not, it's not necessarily the most serious game, which is cool. Not everybody wants that, but it's the sort of game where you can, play with your buddies and laugh and cut up. You can play after you have a couple beers, whatever. I'm just practicing in F1 2017 today, and I'm like constantly going back to the pits to make little adjustments to the car, trying to find like another half second, another quarter second. And that's the sort of thing where, if you're hunting a quarter of a second in practice, you probably don't want to have a beer. That's not most likely. I don't know. Everybody gets down a little different, but that's most likely not going to improve your qualifying time. Having a little road pop. So I can understand why people would be quiet while they're racing and then play the replay and talk over it. I think that's I wouldn't say the only way to do it, but it makes a ton of sense. Right. So let's get this thing emptied the first time. Beacons off. Those turn on. I didn't turn those on. Those turn on automatically for various fill levels. I turned them on to come over here, but I didn't turn them on to work. Although, and this is a big controversy, amongst fake farmers. There are some people that say beacons ought to be on all the time. And there are other people that are like, you're crazy, man. Not only should they not be on all the time, but my council or my county, if you live in the United States, or whatever the local governing body is, like, prohibits them. They don't want those on. They flash in people's eyes. They're disturbing. They make people think there's an emergency, whatever. You can't have them on, except under very special circumstances. And other people are like, special circumstances are all the time. So, you know, I got a little too close last time. Try not to do that again. There it is. However, having grown up in Pennsylvania, as I have mentioned, I have seen, especially in the evening, I have seen equipment working in fields with the beacons on. And I think that's a personal choice, you know, because it's certainly not consistent enough to say, like, oh, that's the law, or that's... In the United States, OSHA is one of the governing bodies for industrial safety. And then the other one, I believe, depending on what kind of operation, I think Department of Agriculture may even get involved. Right. Break off. I'm going to pull forward before I put the pipe in, because it comes in at a little bit of an angle, and I don't want to bang up the JCB. So I'm not going to fill this thing, but we've got room for about 7 tons in the tipper. So I'm going to see if I can square up this little scruffy bit. And then I'll just do miscellaneous till I get to 7 tons in the tank, tip that, put this on a worker, and make our first trip over. However, I don't think we're going to get... I thought we'd get 2 or 3 loads out of this field. I think it's going to be more like 1 to 2. So I don't think we're going to need to worry about making multiple trips. So I will most likely... I think we'll be able to finish this today. If not, what I'll do is I'll fill the tank, or fill it to 7,000. Unload. Hop in the JCB, whether this is on a worker or not. Hop in the JCB, take it over and sell it, and then we'll call it an episode. I think that'll be about right. Because looking out at what's over here, that's just going to be a rectangle that won't be very interesting. And I do want to... This is going to look a little odd when we're down here, but I do want to keep taking ends off here. So I'm going to drive to our right and chop another headland off the end of this big rectangle of crop out here, just to get it ready for the worker. Because they do, the more room they have to work, the better they do, I've found. Driving this thing like a 2-door Honda. Just asking for trouble. Right. Dropped that a little late. Not the end of the world. And then we'll do the same thing on the other end. That'll be kind of our last step as we're getting close to unloading. A little better on the timing there. Feeling good about that. Right, so if we get If we get, now what? Maybe it was half empty. I thought we got, because our tipper behind the JCB is 25 tons, and we were getting 1,500 a ton, and that's 37,000, if I'm not mistaken. But the last load that we dumped, we got 24,000. I think it must have been a half load. We'll take a look down here and see what the price is, if it's still 1,500. But if we get 2, that'll be another 70 grand, which will put us on 150. And that is, if we put that all on the loan, that'll put us at, our loan will be 400K. If we get 250 for the silage that we're putting up right now, and we use it all to pay the loan, that'll put us on 150 for a loan. And if we do the same thing in the spring and get another 250, that'll put us plus 100,000 next spring. And we'll still have crops to bring in and silage to bring in. Crops in the fall, silage from second cut, which theoretically would be another, call it 350, which would put us on plus 450. I think I just did that math right. Yeah, you see what I'm saying. So I'm not terribly stressed about it. I don't like carrying debt over the winter, but I think it'll be okay. I guess what I'm getting at is, should we use the money that we're making right now to buy another field, use what we get from the silage to pay the loan down? And we won't be able to pay it all the way, but we'll be able to knock a chunk off it, and then just suffer through the interest during the winter, knowing that we've got another field that we'll be able to plant. Something to think about. Something to definitely think about. Okay. Takes money to make money, yo. And this game, it doesn't pay interest. You pay interest. Pay interest when you have a loan out. But there is no reason to sit on money, is what I'm saying. This game does not have... The only investment that we can make is in fields. We can buy equipment. It's not really an investment. I mean, it does... You make money by having equipment. But it's not like an investment like a field is. I think you know what I'm saying. So... Oh, the mod lifestyle. So you get what I'm saying. There's no reason to sit on a dime. And since the interest isn't that terrible on the loan, I think we will get more back by investing the money than we will by either trying to pay the loan down to zero or sitting on it. We definitely don't want to sit on it. It's not how business operates. You never want to just keep money. What just happened? You never just want to sit on money for no reason. You always want your money to be doing something. So if you need to keep a little bit in your checking account, and we do as well. We have wages to pay, we have workers to pay, but we don't need a whole lot in there. Okay. I'm going to lop off one more headland. Swung that a little wide. We're going to lop off one more headland and unload, put this on a worker, and then take what's in the tipper down to the sell point. Yep, that is my plan. I think this is enough room for them to turn around. They need space. They don't need that much space. I'm being pretty generous with them. Right. Thing's got some pickup in it. Now, zero perspective. I have no idea how close I am. About that close. Right, so that should make him close to full. 90%? 95%? %. Right. I'm going to go third person to get this set up. Get that put away. Trace off. Return unload off. Connected fields only. We want this off. Check on. Is that right? And then we're going to go, we're going to start on that side. We're going to do lengths. I think that's about right. Okay. Break off. Hire a worker. Who needs practice? Monica still needs practice. There she goes. All right. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope for the best. In we go. I don't even think that's going to... I think all the crop that's left in the field is not going to fill the tank. So I don't think we need to worry. I think we'll just... either tip this and come back, or just tip this and call it an episode. And the gate is open. The gate is open. All right. Let's go. I think the shortest way to get there is through the farm. Is it not? I don't know how I feel about that though. Cutting through the farm. What would a farmer do? It's efficient, but it's kind of, we'll just stay on the road. Stay on the highway. I've also got my eye on some fertilizer sprayers. And there's one, the whole reason I got this JCB is there's one that's supposed to bolt directly to the back. Like it goes on the JCB, specifically on this JCB. And here's the problem that I have with that. That makes that, then it can only be used with this. Versus a trailed sprayer, or the broadcast spreader that we have now that we already own, that spreads, what, 36 meters? That thing is crazy wide. And we already own it, and we can put it on any piece of equipment. So I know the way that I play, I think about it sometimes, or like my girl will be watching me play and I'm trying to decide something, and she's like, man, you're taking this way too seriously. And I guess I am, but I'm just trying to do what I would do if I were actually running this farm. It's cool. It's definitely a cool piece of equipment to like look at. JCB is fast. They don't call it a slow track. It's cool, you know, it's cool to buy new equipment, it's cool to look at it, but if we're trying to make money, and we are, then we can't just be like willy-nilly. We got to really kind of think about it. So we'll take a look. I think it's expensive too. I want to say it's, in fact, we'll take a look right here after we tip this. And this is, it's not quite full. It's nearly full. Right. So what do we get? 20,000 for 20 tons. So clearly the price has dropped. Yeah. We were at 1,400, 1,500. We're at 1,000. So yeah, we lost a third of the. Okay. Well, we'll sell the rest of what we bring out of that field. So these are all base game. That's from the Coon pack. It's this one right here. And this only goes on the JCB. 25 grand. Not bad. And it does have a front tank. So 35. So 36 meter spread. 3,500 liters. And 1,500. So 5,000 liters we can get on there. We've got this Lemkin Gemini, same price, but only 15 meter spread. This can go on anything though. And then this one is 80 grand. We're not doing that. Let's do this one. Not right away, but let's do this one when and if we're ready. Just because it's our brand. Okay, cool. Something to think about. And you know what? Let's go ahead and call it an episode. Let's do that. Folks, thank you so much for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farm Simulator 2017. I will see you next time. Take care now.